Here's what a very simple economy looks like, and it's based on something called the circular flow of income. It's based on two sectors, households and business. And the theory goes as follows. Households provide what are called the factors of production to business, and this is just a fancy word for things like labour, land, and capital. And in exchange, businesses will pay for that. Businesses then take those factors of production and turn them into goods and services, which households pay for based on what they've received for the factors of production. And things go round and round, and you can measure the size of the economy. National income or gross domestic product can be measured either by measuring the factor market or by measuring goods leaving the factory gates. However, it's not quite that straightforward. There are other players involved, one of which is the government. If the government wants to reduce the size of the economy, it can take money out in the form of tax. On the other hand, it can boost the economy by pumping money in, by spending it, public expenditure, so spending it on things like hospitals, roads, schools, and infrastructure. And this is what is known as fiscal policy. There's more, because there's other ways that money can leave the circular flow of income. People don't necessarily spend all the money that they receive, they're potentially going to save it, and here's where the banking system comes in. If consumers decide to save their money, they're not spending it on goods and services, and therefore the economy shrinks. On the other hand, if people borrow money, which banks can create, that gets pumped into the economy, national income will grow. And the way this will work is via things like interest rates. So for example, if interest rates are very low, consumers will be discouraged from saving, but on the other hand, people will be much more willing to borrow. That's good for the economy. It's also looked at by tinkering with the money supply. You might have heard of the expression quantitative easing, which is effectively creating money out of thin air and pumping it back into the system. And this is what is known as monetary policy. So fiscal policy is tax and spend, monetary policy is about interest rates and the money supply. Now there is also a third way by which the size of the economy can be controlled, and that's through something called supply-side economics. Now, supply-side economics came to the fore in the 1980s with the Thatcher and the Reagan governments. And their argument was that government should stand back and let the market do its own thing. Government's role should be reduced to improving the factors of production. So that would mean things like training labour to give them skills. It's going to be things like innovation, investing in machinery, investing in land, and maybe looking at how we improve crop yields, investing in machinery which will improve productivity. Government should leave the market alone, privatise national owned assets, and allow the market to find its own equilibrium.